Hello, hello, hello. Happy, beautiful, powerful people. Welcome to episode 3 of the Everybody's Running podcast. Today, I share with you a conversation that I recorded with Mr. Brahmir Vick on his birthday last week. Brahmir is a decorated athlete. I got to know him through his mother, who I ran track and field with in high school. He is a student athlete, phenomenal in both areas. And we talk about the impacts of COVID-19, where he was when he learned that the season was canceled, and how he's dealing with things now. We also have this conversation about keeping hope when it seems like things are cut off. And as I listened to this podcast, I was surely reminded of Proverbs 23 and 18 that tells us, surely there is a future and your hope will not be cut off. So without further ado, enjoy this episode as much as we did. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Everybody's Running podcast. This is our very first guest episode. You've probably heard some solo episodes from me, Ruby A. Jackson, your host, but we are just off the track right now with a wonderful, wonderful young man, Brahmir Vick, out of Middletown, Delaware. And there's so many things to say about Brahmir, state champion, state record holder in the 100-meter hurdles. Birthday boy. I guess we got to say birthday man though, right? You're 18 now.
Right.
Yes. Happy
Yes,
birthday.
ma'am. Appreciate it.
Yes. And all around great kid, great student. I'm going to let Brahmir tell a little bit more about himself. But you guys, all around great student. And, like I was telling Brahmir, the goal of the Everybody's Running podcast is to truly give a voice for track and field athletes. I used to be an athlete myself. I used to coach track and field as well. And I think there's a gap. What do you think, Brahmir? You think there's a little bit of gap in us just getting love, whether it's through interviews, podcasts,
Right. Yeah, for sure. I definitely haven't heard, too many track athletes getting a voice quite like this. So, this is new to me for sure. I've done something like this in the past, but, this is definitely rare. I'm just blessed to be here. So.
Yes, and we are blessed and grateful and thankful to have you. The goal is going to be every week to be dropping podcasts, whether they're solo episodes or interviews. But tell us a little bit about you, like who is Brahmir Vick? Tell us who you are.
Right. So first I would like to start off with saying that I am a brother to 4. 2 of which are adopted. My parents have been blessed with the opportunity to do such. I have a great household. I attend Middletown High School. I'm a senior, but with everything that's going on, we're not in school, so that sucks. But what else? I've been running for going on 4 years, just about. Started when I was 14. What else? I guess I can go with this year. I'm a U.S. top 5 in 55-meter hurdles this past season. 7-time All-American, 3-time All-State champion, 3-time state record holder for all the high hurdle events in my state. What else? Delaware Gatorade Player of the Year for 2019. State MVP. And a few different other things, but that's just about the sum of what I've been able to do and why I'm getting a chance to be in this podcast today. So,
Hey, and those are some really, really great stats. Like you, I am one of a large family, and I think you're the oldest, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, big brother, you got some people looking at you. I am a big sister. I have four younger
Okay.
sisters. So, but I think in terms of being part of the podcast, absolutely, we are grateful to be able to interview somebody of your caliber and your status. But it's really because your mama that
Oh,
she
really?
kind of put you
Appreciate it.
on. Yeah.
Put
So
me on
her
spot.
and I, ran track and field together at Chester High School in Chester, Pennsylvania. And, we had the opportunity to stay connected through social media. And she's seen some of the things that I've put out there and discussions I've been having. And she was like, you need to talk to my son. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so shout out to the moms. All right, so Brahmir, you kind of mentioned and touched on it a little bit. Um, when you mentioned that you guys were not in school and during these times, I could probably explain it a little bit, but I really want to know, like, in your words, with the
Hmm.
COVID-19 pandemic, like, what does it really mean during these times? What are some of the things you're experiencing as a senior student in high school, which you're a very accomplished student at that, right? I think you have like AP classes, 4.2
Right.
GPA, maybe a little bit
Hmm.
higher than that.
Hmm.
But what are you experiencing in terms of, let's just start with the school side, the academics.
Right. So, academically, uh, going through high school in general, I started off a little rusty. My GPA wasn't necessarily that high. I started off with like a 2.9, then I went to a 3.4, 3.6, and then right now I have a 4.25 from my first two marking periods. So I mean, it's been a constant climb, and a grind, just as if the track and field aspect is still applied, in the classroom and things of that nature. So I make sure that I handle my schoolwork before anything, and right now it's kind of just starting back up, so it's a little different, working from home and doing probably a couple like online live videos with my teacher, which is pretty awkward because you see them at home and they're whatever they're wearing, pajamas or whatever the case may be, so it's a little strange.
Oh man,
But
so the teachers are truly working from home, huh?
yes, yeah.
They probably deserve it though. Shout out to the teachers. Tell me a little bit about. So I didn't realize that about you. Your mom was, telling me about your GPA, and we're
Hmm.
definitely happy to hear that you got it up into the, 4.2, because as
Hmm.
you know, being recruited, the academics are important as well,
Yeah,
because you are a.
especially for track.
Yes, and I think all sports, especially if you want to get to Division 1 level, but any level that you're on, right? We are student and then athletes, and
Hmm.
that's an important part. But tell us a little bit about the climb. So maybe there's some students out there. Maybe there's some people that might be in college. It sounds like you went from actually a lower GPA and got higher. What were some of the things that you and your parents and and your school strategically did to help you get a higher GPA?
um so freshman year I kind of loaded up, you know my during middle school I was doing really well in the classroom, so I was taking honor classes, and I took a math 2 honor class that pretty much that's the reason why my GPA was so low. uh and I had a lot going on that year. I had got injured, and just making that adjustment, going to high school was a little different. They upped the pace a little bit, and like I mentioned, I took honor classes, so they move a little bit faster. So I just had to learn some things, and just with maturity and learning myself and how to study, I was able to bring that up year after year. And my classes still were progressively, getting harder. and things like that. So it's not like I uh, took easier classes. I just learned how to adjust and manage my time better.
You will definitely learn. I heard you say adjust and manage your time and not
Mm,
necessarily taking easier classes, but you're definitely going to learn as you head into college. Like, it is a huge time management game. And one of the great benefits, about being a student athlete is just being able to learn and master that time management. But tell me, give me a little bit more like about how COVID-19 is affecting your school life,
hmm
besides just the teachers just rocking out in
hmm
their onesies.
Okay. So I mean, studying is a little bit more different, and with the teachers only being on the live film, like once a week for each teacher, they leave a lot of work up for us to pretty much do on our own. Uh, so you kind of have to be self-efficient. You no longer have that like school atmosphere. So it's within you to find that time to get things done and kind of just sit down and focus and get off the phone because you don't have people around to tell you, oh, get off your phone or whatnot, unless your parents are like that. But I know for certain mines aren't. So it's a little different. It gets hard at times trying to figure out like how to get help because your friends and stuff are struggling as well. Uh, so it's definitely harder, if in my opinion. But uh, at the same time, it's easier in a way because, like, I guess you don't have the stresses of having people around.
Hmm.
So you can like focus more, but you also don't have help all the time. So that's a fallout. So.
Yes, yes. And I think what I'm hearing is like, during these times, and especially where a lot of students and a lot of kids are doing remote learning, that,
hmm
it helps drown out the noise and you can stay a little bit more
hmm
focused. But it takes a special type of individual that, is maybe a little bit more self sufficient
Exactly.
and, yes, and able to, like, just be responsible, be dedicated.
hmm
Um, and hopefully you are finding, maybe you can't go directly to, your teacher for help right away, but I know for my nephew who lives with me, his teachers are hosting office hours. So during a certain
Right.
time, they're available via email usually to work with him.
Yeah, and I mean, you also got. I mean, I'm efficient with the internet, so like I Google search anything I don't know, and I'm able to figure a lot of things out on my own rather than having to go to my teacher. But my teachers do put up hours as well, so that's a benefit if you need that. So
Okay, so Google University.
right,
All right, so we got to hear a little bit about, how you're being impacted school wise, and we might go. Actually, let's go just another step, right? Because
hmm
you're a senior, so for seniors, there's lots of activities where you have the senior trip, you have
hmm
graduation, you have prom. How is Middletown, Delaware, and other athletes that that are seniors across the nation? How are you guys being impacted by the
right,
effects of this pandemic?
yeah. Sort of activities, yeah. It's a bummer. I mean, a lot of people including myself, is trying to keep hope that we'll be able to maybe get like a couple weeks and be able to do those things that we waited all year to do. Prom is big for everyone, as far as I'm concerned, especially around here, and a lot of people that I know ordered their suits and maybe ordered their dresses as well, and for it to be canceled is like a complete waste of money. So Um, it sucks for sure. Uh, but a lot of like the administration is still trying to keep hope, and they message us and let us know that they're doing what they can. But yeah, I feel like it's just a matter of time before they cut that hope off. So
Yes, yes. I mean, I definitely hear you kind of saying it's a matter of time before they cut the hope off. Here in North Carolina, where I am, the schools are supposed to go back May 15th, but you do kind of look and you're like, well, the school year ends
hmm
on June 10th, about that time. So, what's the point? But I could tell you there's definitely always hope. You might not be able to, wear the dress or wear the suit or, get in the fly car that you were planning to get
hmm
into. But there is definitely always hope. And I think it's going to be interesting and exciting to see some of the things that people come up with, right? Maybe somebody's going to start some type of event for people
right,
your age to kind of say, hey, let's have this huge big party. And
and
maybe
I'll
they'll
take
bring,
it.
yeah,
I'll take it.
right. And you never know that maybe they're going to bring together more than just Middletown, Delaware, right? It
hmm
might be way more than you had a chance to experience and hang out with for a prom or some type of event.
Yeah, who
Let
knows?
me,
It might be better, right?
yes.
So
And then also, there's some pretty innovative things. When I talked to you and your mom earlier this week, you guys talked about you still deciding what school you're going to go to and what school you're going to represent, for your athletic career, for your academic career. And it
right,
sounds like you guys are thinking about doing a virtual signing day event, correct?
yes, ma'am.
So,
Yeah,
like,
I'll
what?
probably go live.
Okay. Go live on what, Instagram, YouTube? Where do you like
Yeah,
to hang
on
out?
Instagram. So I'll probably post a couple of days out, maybe a week, and like let people know that I plan on signing on, whatever day, and have a time and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of people will hop on because I'm constantly asked where I'm going. People always want hints on where I'm going and stuff like that. So, I mean, it should be really exciting. I had a few different ideas on how I wanted to, decorate the room that I'll be sitting in and stuff like that. So, I'm not worried about the fact that I won't be able to sign at school anymore because I can be more innovative, and I'm sure that I still have fun with it, and no matter what the case may be, I'm still going to sign to a school I want to go to. So um, I'm blessed.
Yes, and I think that's like you just said it right there. I'm still going to be innovative in these times, right? Despite COVID-19, I
Right.
am still going to go ahead and sign and move forward, and we are still blessed. So I definitely agree with that. And maybe the virtual signing day is your lane. For somebody else, please pick up and figure out what y'all gonna do with prom, so this young
Right.
man can attend. Um, but let's get a little bit into, the athlete side of things.
Okay.
What has it been like for you? U.S. top five. Tell me, where were you when you learned that? I think the seasons were first going to be reduced, and then later
hmm
seasons were totally canceled. So where were you? What were the feelings about that when you learned that news?
Right. So I remember it was I don't remember what date it was, but I know it was our last day of school before they had initially canceled for 2 weeks. So we had practice, but I didn't go because I was preparing for my senior project dinner, where I had invited people over from like some fundraiser uh, for my senior project, basically. So I was just on social media and I saw that the NCAA's people this was around the time people was going out to NCAA's for the national indoor championships. And I know a lot of athletes that was going to compete in that. And then out of nowhere, people was posting that it wasn't going to be anybody there in the stands and stuff like that. It was just going to be the athletes and the coaches, and that was like, oh, okay, well, it's real, So that happened, and then next thing they canceled it. So I was like, oh wow, this is serious. They canceled a national event, one that I know athletes train super dope, like super hard to get in, right? And that's kind of when I realized that there was a chance that my spring season was gonna, I wasn't thinking that it would get completely canceled, but I had an idea that some of our early meets was going to get, canceled or, moved back or whatever the case may be. So I took that one on the chin. And then, later on, going into the cancellation of school, everyone was, of course, initially hyped because no school. So, it was a smile on everybody's face. And then once you started hearing about schools canceling people's season and NCAA canceled their spring season, it was like, ooh, yeah, it's not too funny anymore. So it definitely is like a so real feeling. It kind of felt like something out of a movie. But it's heartbreaking for sure to know that something that you worked so hard for, can just be taken away from you, not only by like the government or those that's governed, but really the natural world. Like you could just, it could happen just like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it was hard to accept, especially for my team. Shed a lot of tears and stuff like that, but all you can do is look forward to the next chance and the next opportunity that you'll be able to run on the track again. So I just been training and trying to stay focused and keep the mind occupied, and like we mentioned earlier, keep hope, because anything can happen, and maybe I might be able to get a meet out of this, and I gotta make sure that I'm in shape to perform the best way possible.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm hearing you say essentially like you were watching, right, and you kind of knew what was going to happen when you saw
Right.
NCAA's, and I think we all had hope that okay, it's just going to be this indoor event, and there will still be an outdoor season, or okay, outdoor season is over, but like we're still gonna have some of the top meets. We're still gonna have Olympics, but even the Olympics are
Right.
being
Exactly.
postponed to 2021. But
That's
one of
even
the
crazy to me. I'm still trying to take that in. Like, wow.
yes, yes. I think there's a lot of us trying to take it in, no matter what level that we were at, no matter whether you're an athlete or spectator, and even across all the sports, right? But I think that the athletes that petitioned and kind of said, okay, this pandemic is real. People are dying from it. International Olympic Committee, we need you to stand up and do the right thing and make the right choice. So I believe it was the right choice, but definitely one at some level, it sounds like athletes are grieving, spectators are grieving. But I love what you said, right, about being prepared, staying ready, because there is something that's coming after this, right? This is just a season. This is just a time. Pandemics
Right.
don't last forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, so when that next thing comes, you're being prepared and staying ready. So tell me a little bit about that preparation. What does it look like? What type of workouts are you able to do right now? And compare those kind of to, before the pandemic. What did your workouts look like?
So I'm blessed with the neighborhood that I live in, I'm able to get pretty creative, but it's definitely way different than being at school with a weight room and having a track. I know when the pandemic had first began, I was still going to the track. And then, all of a sudden, uh, they start saying that, you can only go out for essential things such as, going to work or going to the grocery store, and they close parks down, and, you pretty much can't go out and just go out and about, such as going to the track and being out there with, crowds of people and stuff like that. So, yeah, you got to get creative. I know I have good coaches that send me home workouts that I can maybe do, like, squats and like a lot of body weight stuff. Just trying to make sure that I'm still burning calories and getting some of that like lactic acid threshold still, if I said that correctly. And I go on runs and stuff around my neighborhood, and I'm just doing everything that I can. I have a pretty big backyard, and my neighbor knows who I am, so they let me run into their yard too. So I got a lot of space. It's probably about 60 something meters, give or take, that I can run down a strip and stuff like that. So
Okay, nice. Oh, that is definitely a huge blessing to have that, to have the community, the coaches that are helping. And I know when we talked earlier in this week, you even talked about the community of athletes where you guys are in a chat group,
oh
whether it's
right, yep.
text or something. So to have that, and then also have your actual physical community supporting you and letting you run into their
Hmm.
yard. Are you able to get in? I know you're a hurdler. Able to get any skills practice? Do you have any
Oh
hurdles or?
yeah, right. I have those foldable hurdles that I use. Probably twice a week, I would say. I use those. Uh, so I'm still getting my like technical stuff in the best way I can and keeping my hips strong. Uh, so
Excellent, and that's definitely important for a hurdler. What about going up to? Are you thinking about in even preparing like for college now, right? Because
hmm
the high school season is over, you're most likely not going to get a chance to run anymore as a high school athlete. Gosh, and imagine that not knowing that your last race was your last race.
right,
Wow, that just hit me like just
yeah,
there, you
it's
know.
hard. You know,
Yeah.
it's really hard. You dream up so many moments with your team, and you sleep on a lot of those moments too as well. And I knew that the spring season for me for sure was uh, one to go down in history with God's blessing, of course. Um, so yeah, it's a lot to take in, but like I said, you just got to keep moving on and try not to dwell on it and uh, stay focused.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so I know in terms of just keep moving forward, staying focused forward for you becomes your freshman year in college, and
Hmm.
there's a height change for you, right? In the hurdles, you're a
Right,
sprint hurdler, so you go from what 39 inches to 42
to
inches. Is that
42.
correct? Okay.
Yes,
So have
ma'am.
you had a chance to practice on that, and what has that felt like?
Right. So I would say the last 2 weeks before the pandemic, like actually strike iron. Uh, I was doing the college height twice a week. So I would do that and then go back to the high school height that same day. So I start off with the college height and then I would drop down to high school. Um, but the college height really, I would say the first time it was a little scary, because you just don't know how your body will react to the change. But after I actually, I just feel like if you go after it, it's only so much that can go wrong, and if something goes wrong, at least truly what's wrong. Because if you just shy at it, then that's always going to be a problem. So I just went after it, and I mean honestly, it wasn't really that bad. It was at least not as bad as I thought it would be. I know like the kind of angle that I need to take. I need to get a little bit more pop off the ground, uh, and things like that. But yeah, I believe that it's going to be a real good adjustment, and within a matter of probably 2 months in college, I should be able to be up and running uh, like I've been doing right now. So
Excellent. And I love what you said there. There was something that you said, and I have to pull it out. You said, if you go after it, right? There are some things that could go wrong, but they won't stay wrong forever. And you said it a little bit better than
right,
than I
yeah. I
just
mean,
did.
it
But
was something that my coach said to me. I kind of try to quote him a little bit, but he pretty much just told me like, uh, it's only so many things that can go wrong if you just go after it, rather than if you shy at it. Then not only is um like one thing might not go wrong, but you're gonna have another thing go wrong too, because you're not going at it as if like you're supposed to. It's hard to put into words, but
yes,
yeah,
but I think that's the mind and the mentality of an athlete, of a hurdler, and the mentality that we have to have in this time, right? That we have to keep the hope, that we have to know that we have to keep going after our dreams. We have to keep moving forward even in these times. What has,
hmm
I know you've played other sports as a youth, karate, football.
hmm
Tell me about track and field and the mentality though. Like, is it a little bit different in those sports? And how have hurdles helped you transition, to overcoming challenges on and off the track?
right. So I mean, I started with karate. Karate taught me discipline for sure. Uh, I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't a horrible kid, but I wasn't the best either. So going into karate, um, it taught me a lot of disciplines and manners and stuff like that. We had to say, sir, yes, sir, and stuff like that. And I carried those habits throughout the rest of my life. Um, Football taught me, honestly, it taught me how to be not only aggressive, but kind of do like, I was young, but it taught me a lot of like how to be a man and stuff like that. That's probably the best way I can put it. And then track was honestly something that I fell in love with, and something I was really passionate about. So like, the work that I put into it is something that I want to do willingly. And I mean, like I said, like this is like my life. So I give it everything that I got. So it's taught me a whole bunch of lessons that I can't even really explain. Um, yeah. So
Well, listen, we're gonna ask you to explain at least one of them, so kind of keep and think about that in your mind. I know um, track and field probably has been a little bit of an emotional journey for you too. The different
yeah,
things that you've experienced, kind of maybe not knowing really much about it, except for knowing that your mother ran track when
did
she
it.
was in
Yeah.
high school,
hmm
and then from what I'm hearing, you hopped on the track and you excelled right away.
Right.
And then I know I was reading an article about you, and you talked about last season how you were running for your cousin, and
Right.
how his passing motivated you. What do you run for now?
I run for a lot of things. I run for the amount of belief that people have in me. Um, I run for like the fact that it's my passion and something that I want to do for as long as I possibly can. Uh, but more than anything is to prove a point that, you can, if you really truly want something, and, those that's been around since I started this whole track thing, I mean, it's been, like you said, a hard process. I came off of football and I was injured, and I faced a lot of adversity, getting back on my feet. And it was a lot of things that journey taught me alone. Um, I built up a lot of like courage, and just like patience that, nothing else can, have taught me, in the past. So I mean, as far as like my motivation is really my family. And then, like I said, all of the trust and, the belief people have, like, you know, I guess bestowed upon me to see me excel. Uh, I constantly use that every day to keep on moving forward, because I don't want to let, my loved ones down and stuff like that.
Yes, 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 yes. Like I'm just getting a little bit of chills and goosebumps because I think when you naturally excel at things and naturally excel, even at sports, sometimes people assume, U.S. top five. You ran
Hmm.
down a lot of your stats. I can't even say them all. 7-time, All American. Just so many people probably assume like, darn, like Brahmir probably doesn't have a bad day. Things he doesn't
Right.
run
Oh
into
man.
challenges, right? But you talked about, just having to have that patience to go from injury. To before you had the success that you had in track and field,
Hmm.
and I think people miss that sometimes, like the people at the top as well, go
They
through the
struggle.
challenges. Yes.
They struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think
And
through those struggles, you find a way forward.
hmm and I mean, the struggles is one thing, but the especially, well, at least for me, the amount of, um, people that have faith in me and that like constantly motivate me throughout this process, they make it all worth it. Like I constantly, like every week I get, messages, people asking me, um, how I'm doing, and make sure that I'm staying, on my toes, and, letting me know like the effects that I've had on their, life as an athlete, and just watching what I do, through social media and stuff like that. Like once you realize how many people that you motivate, and people actually use you as an idol to move on with their life, then, it doesn't become a burden, but it becomes, um, something way more than you could ever imagine, I guess.
No, I can definitely understand it and dig it, and I think influencers, right? That's what it sounds like. You are an influencer.
Right.
Get a chance to use that voice, use that power, and sometimes just use your walk. You might not even be super vocal about it, but just the fact that you share and show people is encouraging. Them knowing that, okay, Brahmir did it, I can make it through this.
Exactly.
And I think that might be a good spot to kind of wrap up. So, you guys, this is the Everybody's Running podcast with Brahmir Vick, U.S. top 5 hurdler, Delaware Gatorade, Player of the Year, 7-time All-American, 4-time All-State champion, so many more things, servant leader, awesome academic student, still deciding what college he's going to go to. I don't think he's telling us on the podcast, but we
Nah,
definitely
you're gonna
got
have to
to,
follow me on Instagram for that one.
yeah, we definitely got to tune
Yeah.
in and see this virtual signing day that you're going to have. Let us know, where do we follow you? Where do you hang out on social?
Right. So I'm not sure how the podcast work, but I mean it's just my name, so it's I am Brahmir Vick, no caps, no spaces. So I am, and then my name Brahmir, and my last name is Vick Vick. So no caps, no spaces. Yep.
So when can we be tuning in to check out this virtual signing day?
Right. You're gonna have to wait on that one. I don't even know myself. Hopefully, like really soon. I'm thinking within the next 2 weeks. I'm thinking as early as possible. So next week maybe. But I'm aiming for the next 2 weeks for sure.
Okay. Well, we will definitely be tuning in and looking out and make sure, you let me know for sure so I can help you promote it. Any last words, any last parting thoughts that you want to leave with the audience?
Right. Make sure you wash your hands. Just rack up on the hand sanitizer. Spray everything down with Lysol. Besides that, stay blessed. Stay home. And make sure that you tell your loved ones that you love them every day.
Absolutely. You guys, on that note, this is Ruby Jackson signing out. I don't know how we're going to end this podcast in the future, but we'll figure it out. You've been
All
tuned
right.
in. Yes, you guys have been tuned in to the Everybody's Running podcast. I hope that you heard something that inspires and motivates you to run well in sport and beyond. Hey peeps, what's up? What did you think about that episode? Like I said, surely there is a future and your hope will not be cut off. There are so many things to look forward to. So in these times, remember to stay patient, keep working, keep doing the work because people are watching. And the person that might be watching might need you to keep going. Don't forget to go ahead and follow Brahmir on Instagram. Wish him a happy belated birthday. And I hope that you heard something in this podcast that helps you to run well in life, sport, and beyond.